guys, and welcome to today's video where I am going to be feeding the geckos crickets. Don't worry, it's not a pinky. And I'll be answering your questions that you left me on Instagram. If you don't follow me already there, Leopard Gecko YouTube, or officially Leopard Gecko on Facebook. I do have a TikTok, but I don't use it too much. You can always follow me there if you like. So we are using vitamins and minerals. We're using Earth Pro A, so I'm going to pop that in my cup. Now, as I select the crickets, I thought I'd answer the first question, which was, do your Leos or Cresties ever show interest in eating their eggs? So if you see my last video with Lyra where I was building her bioactive tank, I found a lot of eggs in her tank. She seemingly have never tried to eat them. Minnie, when I was removing one of her eggs once, I put it near her to show her it, and she did bite on it. But obviously it was completely dehydrated, so that wasn't an issue. But given the chance in the wild, I'm sure they would eat other reptile eggs, potentially bird eggs, although they tend to have a tougher outer shell, but they would likely eat eggs, especially the males. I feel like if I gave Diego a freshly laid gecko egg, he would eat it. Okay, so the first gecko we're feeding is Maui. He is a big fan of food, very similar to Diego. I don't know if anyone else finds this with their male geckos, but my goodness, they love to eat. So, to the next question I have, and actually two people asked me about this, about their geckos vocalizing. So all geckos can vocalize, as far as I know, and leopard geckos are no exception. However, I will say compared to a lot of gecko species, they don't vocalize too much. Sometimes if I hand... Oh, you can actually move, Maui. Sometimes when I handle Diego, I don't know if it's just because he's big or whatever, but sometimes if he turns what's in my hand, he'll make a sound. I don't know if that's pain, I don't know if that's just gas, but he will sometimes do that. It's a sound he makes very rarely, but it has occurred. Ziggy, if you haven't watched me long, I previously had a leopard gecko called Ziggy. It was probably my most vocal of my leopard geckos, and she would basically make a little chirp sound similar to what Lyra does. Not always, and occasionally it would happen if I go to her tank or if I was feeding her, so I don't know if it was excitement. It's hard to tell for sure what the vocalizations mean. The key thing with ruling out a respiratory infection is if it's voluntary. So if your gecko only doing it occasionally as a reaction to something, then that's probably fine. If your gecko's doing constantly, like when it's breathing, then it could have an issue. If it's just constant, I would definitely get that checked out. But yes, leopard geckos can technically make sounds, though they don't do it too often. Okay, this question isn't a gecko question technically, but this person asked what's your favourite Lego creation you've made. So if you don't follow me on Instagram already, you might not know that I am mildly obsessed with Lego. It's taken over my life, and my two favourite, I would say there's two favourites that I've made that I love to display. I love all the detail in the builds, and I'd highly recommend the A-frame cabin, love that, and the Home Alone house. Just those two are probably my favourites. Okay, so I figured with Diego, I'll see how he would hunt the crickets in the dark using a camera with night vision. So, this is a Reolink camera, and if you've watched my channel for a while, you may know that they have sent me cameras before. These are generally security cameras, so this isn't something you necessarily set up in your gecko's tank. But I do use their security cameras. They're really, really good. And right now they have a Black Friday sale on that they wanted me to let you know about. So if you are looking for security cameras, Reolink I highly recommend. But let's see what this looks like and how it works with Diego. This also comes with a solar panel, so if you don't want leads everywhere, this is really handy. And we live in quite a sunny area, so actually this is brilliant, and it doesn't cost us anything to run. Okay, so Diego's currently trying to escape, which, you know, trying to film in a reptile room that's completely dark with a gecko's door open, that is a little bit crazy. I can see a little bit, and obviously the viewfinder that I'm recording from on the app is helping a lot. I've had to flip the footage though, because currently the camera is actually mounted upside down. Anyway, Diego, can you see my hand here? Okay, don't mistake it for a cricket, please. Okay, let's put in the first one. I'm always curious whether his eyesight would be better in the dark. Okay, so one of the questions I got is, how did you get into reptile keeping? How long have you owned reptiles for? So I have now owned reptiles for 17 years, making me feel very old. That means I've had Gizmo and Minnie for over half my life. And I got into it because I always really liked reptiles. And I went to a reptile show when I was 10, and there was a leaflet handed out about potential reptiles you can own, and leopard geckos were on there, and I got obsessed with leopard geckos. Oh, he's on the move. For like 3 years, researching them, saving money, you know, looking into different shops, different breeders, and eventually when I was 13 I could actually afford one, and that's when I got Gizmo. Now I will say, I feel like the camera footage is real. I think you got something, is really good on these Reolink cameras. You can also get audio, so you can not spy on your neighbours, I don't think that's legal, but if there was like a dispute or something around your house or something going on, and trust me, I've caught people doing stuff like this and being very naughty, audio is amazing on these cameras, so there's also that. And as you can see, the night vision is great too. There is also a feature where you can turn on the like white like security light that brightens it, gives you colour vision at night. Obviously I'm not going to do that with Diego because he has sensitive eyes which are glowing, as you can see. But I think he's probably going to go off now and catch some crickets. So next I'm feeding Minnie, and she's already up here ready for some food. If you didn't know, she has a dodgy eye, so I like to help feed her. She is now 16 years old, and actually at the beginning of her life, when she was born with this dodgy eye, forums on the internet told me she's gonna die, she won't last long. Well, she's 16 years old now, and there was a period in time when she was younger that she was a bit better at catching things on her own, but for the most part I've always just taken my time with Minnie and made sure she catches everything. So it's dedication, but she's definitely worth it. So the next question I received was, how is your small business going? So if you didn't know, we do have an Etsy store and a website called The Bearded Shrimp. TheBeardedShrimp.com is actually UK only customers. I wish we could do international as well, but it gets complicated business stuff. But we are available worldwide on Etsy. We make 3D printed stuff for a range of animals, including leopard geckos, morning geckos, day geckos, jumping spiders, tarantulas, centipedes, millipedes, isopods, like you name it, even crabs. I think we made a ledge for a hermit crab, so that was pretty cool. So we make a range of things, and actually at the moment we do have a little offer on, just because I'm feeling Christmassy and I want to give some gifts. So if you're in the UK and you want to buy something from us and save a little bit of money, because it's a bit cheaper on our website, because Etsy takes so much in terms of fees. So if you're in the UK and you want to get a free gift with your order over £5, excluding postage, then head over to thebeardedshrimp.com. And if you are in the UK or worldwide and you want a free gift on orders over £20, excluding postage, then head over to our Etsy. I'll link both of those below. But thank you to that person for allowing me to give myself a little bit of free promo. It's definitely something I really enjoy doing, just because I love creating things and I love making things for animals. So in typical Gizmo fashion, she has gone over to the corner of her tank and hidden. She is just poking her head out, but I don't think the camera's picking it up. She was out originally, she was catching crickets, but she ran off, which is quite normal for her. Gizmo is my 17-year-old leopard gecko, so she is my first ever leopard gecko. Now, a question I did have is, actually I had kind of two very similar. It's like, what species you'd like to keep but won't, and what is a pet that you dream of owning? So I've always had a soft spot for chameleons, but I never feel worthy enough to own one. I feel like they're so sensitive and can be so sickly, and you know, I just feel like I'd be devastated if something happens. Also, they don't live very long, and I just can't deal with that. The other one, and these I would never get because they're way too big, but Tegu tree monitors, they're like so big and so smart and interesting to observe, but I just don't think I could actually own one myself. So that kind of concludes my feeding video. Obviously I do have Lyra, my crested gecko, and Drogo, my chihuahua. I don't know if people want me to do more videos on them, because sometimes I see comments like that, but then when I do videos on them, people don't really watch, so it's like, I don't know what to do. But Lyra is currently in her new setup, which is doing really well, and she is exploring. If you haven't seen that video where I set it all up, I will leave the link here. But yeah, make sure you check out Reolink. Really great cameras. As I said, I've been using them for years now. Check out our Etsy or our website if you like. But thank you for watching, guys, and goodbye.